Daddy, if you can hear me, this is how much I love you.
Long before the highways cut through the forests and before tall buildings rose to touch the skies, there was a peaceful land known as Okoya Hills. Okoya Hills was not rich, but it was respected. The people lived by honor, tradition, and hard work. At the edge of the town stood a small family house with cracked walls and a rusted zinc roof. That house belonged to Miremba Adekun, a young woman whose beauty was quiet, not loud, and whose strength was hidden behind tired eyes.
Wait! Before we continue, smash that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss amazing African folktale stories like this. Hit the like button if this story moved you. It really helps our channel grow. Comment below. Tell us where you're watching from and which part of the story touched you the most. I want to see all your thoughts. And if you're craving more African folktales, check out the Bumped app on the Play Store. Hundreds of stories waiting for you. Okay, now let's get back to the story.
Miremba was 23 years old, a final year student of creative arts at Arowa State University. From childhood, she had loved stories, how words could move hearts, how voices could bring tears or laughter. Everyone who watched her perform said the same thing. This girl was born for the stage. But talent alone does not feed a family. 1 year earlier, death had visited the Adekun family without warning. Cancer took Mrs. Adekun, leaving behind a grieving husband and 3 daughters. From that day, Pa Adekun, Miremba's father, became both father and mother for the family. He was a factory technician, hardworking, quiet, and proud. No matter how little he earned, he always said, "My children will never beg." Then, one rainy evening, fate struck again. On his way back from work, Pa Adekun was involved in a terrible accident. A speeding vehicle lost control and smashed into his motorcycle. By the time neighbors reached the scene, he was unconscious, barely breathing. Miremba received the call during a rehearsal. Her phone slipped from her hand. At the hospital, the doctor's words were slow and heavy. "He is alive, but he is in a coma. We don't know when or if he will wake up." From that day, life changed. Hospital bills piled up, food became scarce, hope became thin. Miremba now carried the weight of 2 younger sisters, Zainab and Sola, both still in secondary school. Every weekend, she returned from school to manage the house, stretching little money into smaller portions, pretending everything was fine. At night, when her sisters slept, she cried silently. She spoke to her father's unconscious body in the hospital, whispering promises she wasn't sure she could keep. "Daddy, please wake up. I'm trying." But weeks turned into months, and nothing changed. By the 3rd month, desperation began to knock loudly. Miremba's performance in school started to suffer. She missed lines. Her mind wandered. Her lecturers noticed. One afternoon, after rehearsal, she was quietly removed from a major role. That was when Kemi, her closest friend, approached her. Kemi was always well-dressed. Her phone was expensive. She never complained about school fees. "Miremba," Kemi said softly, "you are carrying too much alone." That evening, they sat under a mango tree behind the hostel. And for the first time, Miremba told someone everything. Her father, the bills, her sisters, the hunger. Kemi listened, then lowered her voice. "There is a way," she said. Miremba frowned. "What way?" Kemi took her phone and showed her an app. "Men who have money," she said. No stress, no stealing, just agreement. Miremba stood up immediately. No, that's not me. Kemi sighed. I didn't say you must use it. I'm saying keep it as your last option. Without asking, Kemi downloaded the app on Miremba's phone, uploaded a few pictures, and returned it to her. The choice is yours, she said. That weekend, Miremba returned home. There was no food in the house. Zainab tried to smile. Sola pretended she wasn't hungry. Miremba used the last money she had to buy bread and tea. That night, sleep refused to come. She sat on her bed, phone in her hand, staring at the ceiling. Tears dropped silently. Her phone vibrated. A message. Hello, are you available tonight? She ignored it. Another vibration. Another message. I'll make it worth your time. Her heart raced. She remembered her father's face in the hospital, her sister's empty plate, her promise that tomorrow would be better. Then Sola walked into her room. Sister, I'm still hungry. That was when something inside Miremba broke. Her fingers trembled as she typed back, yes. She didn't know it yet, but that single word had just opened a door that would change her life forever. The night air felt heavier than usual. Miremba stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection, not recognizing the girl looking back at her. She wasn't dressed to impress. She wasn't dressed to seduce. She was dressed to survive. Her phone buzzed again. I'm outside. Her heart skipped. She stepped out of the house quietly so her sisters wouldn't wake up. The compound gate creaked as she opened it, and immediately she saw the car. Black, polished, expensive. The kind of car that never entered streets like theirs. The window rolled down. A man leaned slightly forward. He looked clean, confident, calm, not scary, not desperate. Are you Miremba? He asked. She nodded. I'm Ryan, he said. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Those words should have comforted her. Instead, they made her chest tighten. As the car pulled away, Miremba looked back at the house one last time. A strange feeling passed through her body, like she was crossing a line she could never return from. They drove in silence at first. The city lights blurred past the window. Music played softly in the background. Ryan broke the silence. You look young, he said. I'm in school, she replied quietly. He nodded. Everyone has problems. Money just makes mine quieter. They stopped in front of a popular lounge. Bright lights, loud laughter, people who looked like they had no worries in the world. Inside, the smell of alcohol mixed with perfume and confidence. Ryan ordered food she had only seen on social media. He spoke about business, travels, investments. Miremba barely listened. Her mind kept whispering, you can still stand up and leave. But then she remembered the empty kitchen, her father's motionless body, the doctor's voice reminding her of unpaid bills. After the food, Ryan stood up. Let's go, he said calmly. Her legs felt weak as she followed him back into the car. They drove again, this time to a quiet hotel. At the reception, he paid without looking at the price. Inside the room, the silence screamed. Ryan sat on the edge of the bed and looked at her. If you are not comfortable, you can go, but I've already sent the money. Her phone vibrated. 100,000 naira received. Her breath caught. That money could buy food for days, books, transport. Her eyes froze. That was when she realized something terrifying. The hardest part wasn't saying yes. The hardest part was realizing how easy it had become to stay. That night, Miremba did what she had sworn she would never do. And when it was over, she went to the bathroom, turned on the shower, and cried until her chest hurt. Ryan dropped her close to home. He said, call me anytime, like nothing had happened. She walked into the house quietly, washed her face, and lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling until morning. The next day, Miremba bought food. Her sister smiled again. Zainab laughed for the first time in weeks. Sola said, "Today is good." Miremba smiled back. But inside her chest, something felt wrong. She had solved one problem, but opened a door she didn't understand. Later that evening, her phone buzzed again. Another message. "You were amazing. I have a friend who would like to meet you." She didn't reply, but she didn't delete the app either. And that silence was louder than any answer.
Wait! You can enjoy more stories from our Bumped app on Play Store. Go over to Play Store, search for Bumped, install the app instantly for free. Hundreds of stories waiting for you to watch absolutely for free. Or check the description of this video. The app link is there. Open it and download Bumped app instantly today. See you on Bumped.
Money changes things. Within 2 weeks, Miremba's life began to look normal again. On the surface, there was food in the kitchen. Her sisters no longer went to bed hungry. Transport money stopped being a daily struggle. But peace did not return. Instead, messages multiplied. Men she had never met began to write, some polite, some bold, some demanding. Miremba started choosing carefully, convincing herself that control meant safety. She limited herself to weekends. She told herself it was temporary. She told herself she was still a good person. But the heart knows when it is lying. One afternoon, as she sat alone in the hostel reading messages she didn't want to read, Kemi walked in smiling. "You are glowing," Kemi said. Miremba looked away. Kemi sat beside her and whispered, "Someone asked about you." "Who?" Miremba asked without interest. Kemi hesitated, then said, "He's not like the others." That sentence should have been a warning. "He doesn't use the app himself," Kemi continued. "He sends people to choose for him." Miremba frowned. "Choose?" "Yes, he likes his privacy. Powerful men always do." Miremba shook her head. "No, I'm not interested." Kemi sighed. "He's offering 100,000 naira for one night." The room went quiet. That money could cover hospital bills, school fees, debt. Kemi leaned closer. "He's clean, calm, and generous. His name is Allaric." The name sat strangely in Miremba's chest. "No," she said again, but softer this time. Kemi stood up. "I'll tell him you are not ready." That night, Miremba dreamed of her father. He was calling her name, but his voice was far away. The call from the hospital. The next morning, her phone rang. It was the hospital. Her father's doctor spoke gently but firmly. "Miss Adekun, your bills are behind again. We need a deposit by the end of the week or we may have to reduce care." The world spun. Miremba sat on her bed shaking. By evening, she sent Kemi a message. "Is the offer still available?" The reply came almost immediately. "Yes, he's been waiting." Meeting Allaric. Allaric's house was not flashy. No loud music, no bright lights, just silence and power. He opened the door himself. He looked younger than she expected. Neat eyes, neat clothes, a smile that never fully reached his face. "Welcome, Miremba," he said. "I've heard a lot about you." Her stomach tightened. "How?" she asked. He smiled slightly. "In my world, nothing stays hidden." They ate in silence. No small talk, no flirting. When it was time, he stood up and said, "Come." Afterwards, he placed an envelope on the table. She didn't open it until she was outside. 100,000 naira. Her hands trembled. As she entered the car to go home, Allaric's voice followed her. "Next time will be more profitable." She didn't look back. The beginning of fear. That night, Miremba could not sleep. Her chest felt heavy. Her dreams were restless. She felt watched. The money helped, but something had changed. This time, it didn't feel like survival. It felt like ownership. And somewhere, far away in the darkness, someone had noticed her fear and smiled. From that night onward, Miremba stopped counting days. She counted alerts. Money came faster now, too fast. Whenever Allaric sent a message, it came with calm certainty, as though he already knew her answer. Yet something about him felt unreal. Not violent, not loud, just empty. One evening, after sending her another transfer without explanation, Allaric called her. His voice was low. "Miremba," he said, "I have something different for you." Her heart sank. "I need you to come over tonight." She wanted to refuse, but the hospital bills flashed in her mind. She arrived late. The house felt colder than before. Allaric did not offer food this time. He did not smile. Instead, he poured 2 glasses of wine and said calmly, "There are ways to make more money without repeating the same work." She looked at him. "What do you mean?" He stood up and walked towards a locked door at the end of the hall. "You don't have to answer now," he said, "but once you see it, you will understand." The door opened. Inside the room, the lights were dim, and on the bed, something moved. Miremba froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Allaric's voice came from behind her. "Don't be afraid," he said softly. "It doesn't bite." She stepped back slowly. "What is that?" He smiled, this time fully. "My pet." Her legs felt weak. She shook her head violently. No. Allaric closed the door gently. He placed a briefcase on the table and opened it. Inside was money, neatly stacked. 250,000 naira, he said, "tonight." Her ears rang. Her mouth got dry. "I'm not asking you to do anything dangerous," he continued calmly. "Just lie down, switch off the light, let nature handle the rest." Miremba backed away. "I can't," she whispered. Allaric studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "That's fine," he said. "You are free to leave." No shouting, no threats. That scared her even more. She ran out of the house. The weight of hunger returned. 2 days later, the hospital called again. The deadline had moved closer. Her father needed urgent care or machines would be removed. Miremba sat on her bed, shaking. She didn't sleep that night. In the early hours of the morning, she whispered into the phone while standing beside her father's hospital bed. "Daddy, I don't know how to save you anymore." Her phone buzzed. A message. "The offer still stands." Tears rolled down her face. She knew the road she was about to take had no return.
So tell me, what lessons have you actually learned? I would really love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. And remember to support this channel. Please subscribe, like the video, comment, just say something. Even a word could literally mean a whole lot. So I want you to tell me, what lessons have you learned from this story? Trust me, these are situations that most people actually go through. I want to hear how you dealt with the situation that you were faced with.
Miremba wiped her tears. She typed one word, "Okay." And just like that, she stepped into darkness. Rain fell lightly that night. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind that makes darkness feel alive. Miremba stood outside Allaric's house, her bag hanging loosely from her shoulder. Inside the bag was nothing but her phone and a scarf. No makeup, no perfume, no hope. She whispered a prayer she barely believed anymore. The gate opened by itself. Allaric was waiting. He did not smile. "You came," he said. She nodded, unable to speak. Inside the house, Everything was prepared. The lights were low, the air was heavy. Allaric placed a glass of water on the table. "Drink," he said. "It will calm your nerves." She shook her head. "I'm here for business," she whispered. For the first time, Allaric looked impressed. He opened the briefcase. The money was there. He pushed it toward her. "Lie down," he said. "Turn off the light." Her heart pounded so loudly she feared it would give her away. She walked slowly into the room. The door closed behind her. Darkness swallowed everything. Then she felt it. A cold, rough movement against her skin. Her breath stopped. Something slid across her arm, then her stomach, then her neck. Her entire body stiffened. She wanted to scream. She couldn't. Time lost meaning. Minutes stretched into something else. Her thoughts broke apart. Memories of her childhood, her mother's laughter, her father's hands guiding her as a child. Tears ran silently down her face. She bit her lips until she tasted blood, just to stay conscious. At some point, exhaustion replaced fear, and then silence. After the darkness. When the door finally opened, light rushed in. Miremba sat up slowly. Her body felt numb. She walked out without speaking. Allaric was in the living room, sipping a drink. He stood up and handed her the briefcase. "Good girl," he said. She flinched. "Don't come back unless I call you," he added calmly. She left. No goodbye, no questions. The morning after, Miremba woke up screaming. Her body was drenched in sweat. She ran to the bathroom and vomited. Her reflection scared her. Her eyes looked empty. But she forced herself to stand. She took the money straight to the hospital. The bills were paid. Machines stayed on. Her father lived. Yet, as she sat beside his bed, holding his cold hand, she whispered, "I saved you, but I lost myself." That was when her phone rang. Unknown number. She didn't answer. It rang again. She picked. Allaric's voice was sharp, no longer calm. "Where is it?" he demanded. Her heart froze. "What do you mean?" she whispered. "My pet," he said. "It's gone." The line went dead. Miremba's blood turned cold. Something had gone terribly wrong. Miremba stared at her phone long after the call ended. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. Gone? How could something like that just disappear? She sat frozen beside her father's hospital bed, barely hearing the beeping machines around her. Every shadow in the room felt heavier. Every sound felt closer. That night, she didn't go home. She slept on a bench in the hospital corridor, waking at every footstep, every cough, every distant voice. At dawn, she checked her phone. 10 missed calls, all from unknown numbers. Then, a message appeared. "You took what doesn't belong to you." Her hand shook so badly, she nearly dropped the phone. Another message followed. "Return it." Return what? She had taken nothing. Or so she thought. Allaric is searching. By midday, whispers started spreading. Kemi called her, her voice low and urgent. "Miremba, where are you?" "At the hospital." "Don't go back to your hostel," Kemi warned her. "Allaric came to school today." Miremba's heart dropped. "He had 2 men with him," Kemi continued. "They were showing your picture, asking questions." Fear wrapped itself tightly around her chest. "What does he want?" Miremba asked. Kemi hesitated. He kept saying one thing. "She took it." The words echoed in her head. running without direction. That evening, Miremba left the hospital through the back gate. She covered her head with a scarf and took crowded buses, changing routes again and again. She felt watched, even when she was alone. When she finally reached home, she didn't enter. She stood outside staring at the door. If he finds me here, my sisters. Her chest tightened. She turned away. That night, she slept in a small, cheap lodge, far from school and home. She locked the door. She pushed a chair against it. Still, sleep refused to come. The truth revealed. The next morning, Kemi found her. She looked pale, scared. "Miremba," she whispered, "there's something you need to know." They sat inside the lodge, curtains drawn. Kemi swallowed hard. Allaric is not normal. Miremba laughed weakly. "I know." "No," Kemi said quickly. "You don't understand." She leaned closer. "People say he doesn't age. They say girls who go to him change. Some disappear, some never have children, some die slowly." Miremba's stomach turned. Kemi continued, her voice shaking. "They say the thing he keeps, it's not just a pet, it's part of him." Miremba felt cold. "If it's gone," Kemi whispered, "he will do anything to get it back." A new fear. As if summoned by the words, Miremba's phone rang. Unknown number. She didn't answer. A message came in instead. "I know where your sisters are." The world spun. Her breath caught in her throat. She realized then, this was no longer about money. This was about survival. And Allaric was done being patient. Miremba did not sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt it again, that cold, crawling weight on her skin. She hugged her knees in the dark lodge room, whispering prayers that felt like they were falling into empty space. At dawn, she made a decision. She would run, not to the hostel, not to the hospital, not to anyone Allaric could reach. She would take her sisters and disappear. The confrontation. Miremba returned home just after sunrise. Zainab and Sola were already awake. "Sister, where have you been?" Zainab asked. "There's no time," Miremba said urgently. "Pack your clothes, only what you can carry." Before they could ask questions, a black SUV rolled slowly into the compound. Miremba's heart stopped. The car door opened. Allaric stepped out. 2 men followed him. The air changed. He looked calm, too calm. "Miremba," he said, his voice soft but dangerous. "You've been very difficult." She stepped forward, shielding her sisters. "I don't know what you're talking about," she cried, trembling. Allaric smiled. "Where is my possession?" "I took nothing," she cried. His eyes darkened. "Then why can't I feel it anymore?" he asked. He raised his hand. The air went cold. Zainab screamed. Sola clutched Miremba's clothes. "Miremba Adekun," Allaric said slowly. "If you do not return what belongs to me, you will pay." She fell to her knees. "I don't have it," she sobbed. Allaric removed something from his pocket, an old chain, blackened with age. He whispered words that did not sound human. The transformation. Pain exploded through Miremba's body. Her bones twisted. Her scream became a cry she did not recognize. Before her sister's eyes, Miremba collapsed, and where she had been kneeling stood a goat. Zainab screamed and fell to the ground. Sola ran backward in terror. Allaric lowered his hand. "When you find my possession," he said coldly, "bring it to me." He turned and walked away. The SUV drove off as if nothing had happened. Hope in the midst of horror. As the sisters cried, Miremba, trapped in a body that was not hers, could only bleat helplessly. At that moment, a phone rang inside the house. Zainab, shaking, picked it up. It was the hospital. Her voice cracked as she answered. "Yes?" The nurse's voice sounded almost cheerful. "Your father is awake." Silence. Then tears. The sisters fell to the ground crying between joy and horror. Their father had returned, but their sister was gone. My people. You see, the news spread through the hospital like morning fire. Pa Adekun was awake. Nurses gathered. Doctors checked monitors twice. Some shook their heads in disbelief. For weeks, his eyes had been closed. For weeks, his body had refused the world. Now, slowly, he returned. When Zainab and Sola rushed into the ward, their faces were wet with tears. Tears of joy mixed with fear. Pa Adekun looked at them quietly. His eyes were deeper than before, as though he had seen places no living man should see. "Where is Miremba?" he asked. The sisters froze. They looked at each other, trembling. "Daddy," Zainab whispered, "please don't be angry." Pa Adekun frowned. "I asked a simple question," he said calmly. "Where is my daughter?" They broke down. Between sobs, they told him everything. The strange man, the black car, the words spoken in a language they didn't understand. And finally, she turned into a goat. The ward fell silent. A nurse gasped. A doctor stepped back. Pa Adekun closed his eyes. A tear slid down his face. "I know," he said quietly. The sisters stared at him. You know?" Sola asked. Pa Adekun opened his eyes again. "While my body was sleeping, my spirit was awake." The room felt cold. He continued slowly. "I followed Miremba. I saw the choices she made. I saw the man who trapped her. I saw the thing he worships." The sisters held each other tightly. Pa Adekun turned his face toward the window. "That man is not called Allaric," he said. "That is only a mask." "Then who is he?" Zainab asked. Pa Adekun's voice dropped. "He is Obain, the collector." The name hung in the air like smoke. Pa Adekun continued. "He feeds on desperation. He trades wealth for souls, and once he marks you, you never truly live." The doctor tried to interrupt, but Pa Adekun raised a hand. "I am not mad," he said firmly. "I have seen the truth." Later that night, after the nurses left, Pa Adekun asked to be alone. He whispered into the quiet room, "This is my fault." He remembered his pride, his silence, his refusal to ask for help. "If I had not been broken, my daughter would not have been pushed into darkness." His hands shook. "I will bring her back, or I will follow her into whatever world took her." That same night, back at the family house, the goat stood quietly in the corner. Its eyes were not the eyes of an animal. They were full of pain, full of shame, full of understanding. When Zainab placed food before it, the goat turned away. Tears ran down Zainab's face. "Sister, forgive us," she cried. The goat bleated softly. The warning dream. That night, Pa Adekun slept for the first time since waking, and in his sleep, a voice spoke to him. "Time is short. The chain binds her. Break the chain or lose her forever." He woke up sweating. At that moment, he knew this was no longer a battle of money. It was a battle of blood, truth, and ancient power. Pa Adekun did not waste time. By sunrise, he asked to be discharged. The doctors protested. His body was still weak. His legs shook when he stood, but his eyes held a fire they could not argue with. "I will not lie down while my child lives as something else." Against advice, he left the hospital. The journey into the old paths. Pa Adekun did not go to the police. He did not go to church. He went where desperate men go when the world has failed them. Beyond Okoya Hills, past the last tarred road, deep inside the forest where mobile networks die, lived a man known only as the Wise One of Igbale Grove. No one knew his real name. No one visited him twice without reason. They said, he sees what has happened and what is yet to happen. Padekon arrived at dusk. The air around the grove was heavy. Even birds avoided it. The Wise One sat under a twisted tree, his eyes closed as though waiting. "You are late," the old man said without opening his eyes. Padekon fell to his knees. "My daughter has been taken," he said. "Her spirit has not returned till now." The old man opened his eyes. "Bring her closer," he said. When the goat was led into the grove, the Wise One did not touch it. He circled it slowly. Then he laughed, a dry, painful laugh. "So, Obayin has grown greedy again," he said. Padekon's heart dropped. "You know him?" The old man nodded. "That chain he used is not iron. It is a promise sealed with blood." Padekon swallowed hard. "Can it be broken?" The old man stared at him. "Yes." Hope rushed through Padekon. "But," the old man continued, "nothing powerful breaks without collecting something in return." The wind howled suddenly. The goat bleated softly. The old man leaned forward. "To break the chain," he said, "you must bring me the chain itself." Padekon frowned. "But Obayin has it." The old man nodded. "And he will not give it willingly." Silence fell. Then the old man added quietly, "And blood must touch it again, but not hers." Padekon felt dizzy. "Whose blood?" The old man looked at him. "A father's blood." Padekon did not hesitate. "Take mine." The old man raised a finger. "Listen carefully," he warned. "If Obayin completes his next ritual before the chain is broken, your daughter will remain what she is forever." Padekon clenched his fists. "How long do I have?" The old man closed his eyes. 3 days. That night, Padekon sat outside the grove. The goat lay beside him, silent. He placed his hand on its head. "My daughter, I failed you once. I will not fail you again." The moon rose slowly, and somewhere far away, Obayin felt a disturbance and smiled. 3 days. That was all Padekun had. By the time he returned from Igbale Grove, his body ached, but his spirit was awake. The Wise One's words echoed in his mind again and again. If Obale completes the ritual, the chain will become permanent. That same night, as the moon climbed the sky, Obayin sat alone in his mansion. No guards, no servants, no visitors. For the first time in years, he was nervous. Inside a hidden chamber, candles burned in a perfect circle. At the center lay a new serpent, white, thick, and unmoving. Obayin stood naked before a carved altar, his hands shaking slightly. "Not yet," he muttered. When he looked into the mirror on the wall, his breath caught. A wrinkle. Just one, but unmistakable. He touched his face. For over a century, his reflection had never changed. Now it had. "Impossible," he whispered. He smashed the mirror. Glass shattered across the floor. Obayin knew the truth. The chain was weakening. Somewhere, someone had challenged the covenant. Padekun was feeding the goat when his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Obayin's voice came through, no longer calm. "You are hiding her poorly," he said. Padekun's blood ran cold. "Return what belongs to me, and I will return your daughter to you." Padekun's voice was steady. "You already broke the agreement when you cursed her." There was silence. Then Obayin laughed, a sound filled with rage. You have 3 days, Obayin said. After that, I won't need her anymore. The line went dead. The wise one's warning, that night, Padekun dreamed again. He stood at the edge of a pit. The goat hung above it, struggling. Obayin stood behind him, holding a stick. If your hands shake, the voice whispered, she will fall. Padekun woke up screaming. His shirt was soaked with sweat. He knew what it meant. This fight would not end with words. The next day, strange rumors spread. People whispered about a rich man who no longer appeared at clubs, about a mansion that stayed dark, about guards sent away. Obayin was preparing, and so was Padekun. He packed a small bag. He wrote a letter to Zainab and Sola. If he did not return by sunrise, they were to open it. As he placed the letter down, the goat nudged his leg gently. Padekun knelt beside her. Whatever happens, he whispered, remember that your father did not run. The wind blew hard, and somewhere in the dark, time shifted. Padekun did not sleep. He sat in the dark, listening to the sound of the goat's breathing, counting every second as though it were a heartbeat. 3 days were almost gone. Tonight was the night. Before midnight, Obayi's mansion stood unusually quiet. No guards, no lights, only candles flickering inside. Padekun arrived quietly, leaning on a walking stick, not as a sign of weakness, but disguise. He climbed the fence slowly. Each movement sent pain through his legs. Inside, the air smelt of incense and blood. Chanting echoed from the inner chamber. Padekun hid behind a pillar, peering inside. Obayin stood before the altar. Older now, his once youthful skin sagged slightly. His hands shook as he raised them. Beside the altar lay the chain. Padekun's heart thundered. Now, the wise one's voice echoed in his head. Padekun stepped forward. His foot brushed against a metal bowl. It clanged loudly. The chanting stopped. Obayin turned slowly. Their eyes met. For a moment, neither moved. Then Obayin smiled. You're brave, he said softly. Stupid, but brave. Padekun lunged forward. Obayin screamed words that cracked the air. The candles flared violently. Padekun grabbed the chain and screamed as pain shot through his body. The chain burned his skin like fire. Still, he held on. He pulled the blade and cut his palm. Blood dropped. One drop, then another. The chain screamed. Yes, screamed. The wall shook. The serpent on the altar thrashed wildly. Obayin roared in rage. You will die for this. Obayin struck Padekun with his staff. Pain exploded through his back. He fell, but did not let go. The last drop of blood fell on the chain. The candles went out. Darkness swallowed the room, and somewhere far away, a goat cried out. Darkness did not end the night. It thickened it. Inside Obayin's mansion, the air vibrated as though the house itself was breathing. Walls groaned. Candles reignited on their own, flames bending sideways as if afraid. Pa Adekun lay on the cold floor, his fingers still locked around the chain. Blood pooled beneath his hand. He tried to move. His body refused. Across the room, Obayin staggered backward, clutching his chest. His scream had changed from anger to fear. No, 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 Obayin shouted. His voice cracked like dry wood. The serpent on the altar writhed violently. Its scales dulled, its eyes clouded. It let out a terrible hiss that shook the ceiling. Obayin watched in horror as the creature began to shrink, its power draining with every second the chain stayed soaked in Padekun's blood. You don't understand, Obayin screamed at Padekun. That chain is my breath, my years, my life. Padekun lifted his head weakly. Then, give my daughter back, he whispered. Obayin laughed, mad and broken. You think breaking one chain ends me? He spat. I am older than your grandfather's grandfather. But his body betrayed him. His hair began to grey before Paadekun's eyes. Wrinkles carved deep lines into his face. His back bent slowly, painfully. Time was catching up, all at once. Miles away, at the family house in Okoya Hills, the goat began to scream. Not bleat, scream. Zainab and Sola woke up in terror. The goat's body trembled violently. Light burst from beneath its skin. The sisters shielded their eyes. Then, silence. When they opened their eyes, Miremba lay on the floor naked and shaking, gasping for breath like someone returning from the dead. "Sister!" they cried, rushing to her side. Miremba clutched her chest. "Daddy," she whispered, "where is my father?" Obayin collapsed to his knees. The serpent lay still, dead. The chain fell from Paadeku's hand with a dull clang. Obayin crawled toward it, his fingers trembling. "Please," he whispered, "just one more night." Paadeku gathered the last of his strength. "No," he said, "this ends now." With a final surge of effort, he dragged himself toward the chain and pushed it into the burning incense fire. The chain screamed once more, then melted. Obayin let out a sound that was not human. His body aged rapidly, skin sagging, bones cracking. Within moments, he lay still, an old, lifeless shell. Paadeku smiled faintly. "It's done," he whispered. Then his eyes closed. Morning came slowly, not with celebration, not with relief, but with silence. Paadeku was found at dawn. A security guard passing the abandoned mansion saw the gate open and called the authorities. Inside, they found an old man's body, Obayin, lying twisted beside a melted chain and a dead serpent. And a few meters away, Paadeku, alive, barely. He was rushed to the hospital. Doctors worked quickly, cutting away his blood-soaked clothes, shouting instructions over one another. Severe blood loss, internal injuries, prepare the ICU. Machines began to beep again, just like before. History repeated itself. Miremba woke up in her own body, in her own bed, but nothing felt familiar. Her sisters hovered around her like frightened birds. "You're really here," Zainab whispered, touching her arm. "You're not changed?" Miremba nodded slowly. Her throat was dry. Her body ached in places she couldn't explain. Memories flooded back. The darkness, the chain, the scream. She sat up suddenly. "My father!" she cried. "Where is my father?" The sisters went silent. When Miremba reached the hospital and saw her father lying motionless on the bed, her strength left her legs. She fell to her knees. "Daddy, please, wake up," she sobbed. The doctor stepped closer. "He survived," he said gently, "but the damage was severe. Even if he wakes, he may never walk again." Miremba pressed her face into her father's hand. "I'm sorry. This should have been me." The machines answered with cold beeps. Later that night, Miremba told her sisters everything. The money, the fear, the night she crossed the line. There was no shouting, only tears. Zainab hugged her tightly. "We almost lost you," she whispered. "I lost myself," she replied. Days later, police raided Obayin's mansion. What they found shocked even hardened officers. Ritual items, hidden chambers, records of women who had vanished without trace. The house was sealed. The name Obayin disappeared from the city like a bad dream. One evening, as Miremba sat beside her father reading softly, Paadekun's fingers twitched. Then his eyes opened, weak, tired, but alive. He looked at her. "Miremba," he whispered. She broke down completely. "I'm here, Daddy," she cried. "I'm here."
Evil does not always end with noise. Sometimes it ends with silence. Paadekun lived, but life no longer moved the way it used to. The accident had weakened him. The night of blood had finished the rest. His legs never answered him again. The doctor said it gently, as though kindness could soften truth. He will never walk. When the news reached him, Paadekun closed his eyes. Then he smiled. I stood, he said quietly, when it mattered. From his wheelchair, he became something greater than he had ever been on his feet, a man whose sacrifice had meaning. Miremba survived, but she returned changed. The world felt louder. Faces felt closer. Silence felt heavier. Some nights, she woke up gasping for air, her body remembering things her mind tried to forget. Yet, she refused to be broken. She returned to school, not chasing applause, not chasing money, but chasing truth. On stage, she no longer acted, she testified. People watched her performances and cried, unsure why their hearts felt heavy. They felt her pain without knowing her story. That was her healing. Zainab and Sola learned early what many never learn at all, that hunger can push good people into terrible choices, and that silence can be as dangerous as evil. They grew stronger, closer, wiser. They guarded their sister fiercely. They guarded their home even more. The night taught them that love is not soft, it is protective. Oboyin's mansion was sealed. His name faded. No grave bore his title. No legacy followed him. Only rumors remained. Women whispered. Men warned their sons. Mothers held their daughters closer. Evil that feeds in shadows dies when exposed to light. Years later, an old man sat beneath a tree in Okoya Hills. Children gathered around him. His voice was low, steady, carrying weight. He told them about a girl who chose survival, a father who chose sacrifice, and a man who tried to cheat time. Then he said, when desperation knocks, wisdom must answer. Not every open door is an escape. Some are traps dressed as opportunity. The children listened because fear teaches faster than comfort. Money can silence hunger, but it cannot silence consequences. Every choice leaves a footprint, and some paths never forget who walked them.
Wait! You can enjoy more stories from our Bumped app on Play Store. Go over to Play Store, search for Bumped, install the app instantly for free. Hundreds of stories waiting for you to watch absolutely for free. Or check the description of this video. The app link is there. Open it and download Bumped app instantly today. See you on Bumped. So tell me, what lessons have you actually learned? I would really love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. And remember to support this channel. Please subscribe, like the video, comment, just say something. Even a word could literally mean a whole lot. So I want you to tell me, what lessons have you learned from this story? Trust me, these are situations that most people actually go through. I want to hear how you dealt with the situation that you were faced with.